Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, delighted to be joined by Shaka Hislop and Stevie Nicol to reflect on a busy day of action in the Premier League. They are on, and take a look at this. Big gap now between third and fourth. Just 3 points, though, separating the top two. Arsenal sitting atop of the table. City in second, Villa in third. Remember, the next round of matches is the official halfway point of the Premier League season. For more, let's welcome in, shall we? Frank Leboeuf joins us from his holiday in a sauna. What a lovely time for Frank to join us. We'll be hearing from Leboeuf in a moment. But Stevie, let's start off with you. Big talking point from all of this is that Villa aren't going to go away, isn't it?
I don't know whether I'm going to agree 100%.
You don't have to agree at all, Steve.
For an hour, they were completely, totally and utterly outplayed. But they've got a resilience, they've got a confidence now. They've got players, the likes of Watkins, who had a bad start to the season, who comes off the bench, gets 2 goals. I mean, Morgan Rogers is just a beast. And everything else around them is organised. I'm not so sure that I'm putting anything on them to win the title.
Unai Emery says we're not in the title race. Shut up.
Well, I'm going to go with the manager then.
But you're 3 points off the top.
The 3 points off the top, and they've been on an incredible run. I mean, what's that? 10 wins out of 11.
Yeah.
That ain't going to last. I don't see them having the strength of squad for that.
But you said yesterday that you didn't think they were going to get a result in this game.
I didn't think they were, and for an hour I was absolutely spot on.
But then you weren't at the end. You were wrong.
Well, the thing is this victory got something to do with Chelsea? I mean, you can't take it away from Aston Villa the way they came back in the game. But at the same time, you've got to look at Chelsea and say, how can you be so dominant, be so much on top? You should maybe have killed the game off, and then Villa can't do what they did.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of stuck in the middle here, whether it's all fantastic for Villa or whether is this Chelsea slipping up big time?
Frank?
Well, Chelsea didn't win that game because they didn't convert the chances that they had. They were for an hour the better team. They deserved a penalty. That's a penalty nowadays. Whatever you can think about our times and where it should have been a penalty in our time, that's a penalty, a clear penalty in our time. And then after you have Watkins being lucky on the face-to-face against Sanchez, getting the rebound, and then you have a team who is lucky. And Chelsea maybe didn't do everything, but sometimes you have to take me seriously when I say that Aston Villa is in a race for the title, because they have the chance, they have the luck, and they use it because they're very well organised.
Frank, you've completely diminished their win today, saying that they were lucky.
Yeah, but it's part of the football. I mean, sometimes you need to be lucky.
That's quite disrespectful in a team to go to Chelsea and to come away with a result.
Well, I don't know in which part is going to be disrespectful. You know, Chelsea did what they had to do, but when you play against a team
Chelsea didn't do what they had to do, did they? Or else they did
what? For an hour, there is no complaint. And if the referee gives the penalty, it's maybe 2-0, game over. You know, so you can say whatever you want. And after Watkins, who have been invisible for 4 or 5 games, comes in, face Sanchez, get a rebound, score a goal, and the game is changed. So you can explain everything in football. You have to talk about the tactic. I mean, the good thing about Emery, that he puts Watkins and Onana on, that made the change. And Palmer went out, and you had also another player went out.
Villa weren't lucky. They were out-coached.
Oh, no. The coach made what they had to do. He did what they had to do. But they had the luck, and it's part of the football. I mean, I played football, and I played 700 games. How many times I say, "Wow, we've been so lucky today." That's part of the game. If you are lucky, you're not going to get anything, and that's what it is. And that was that for Aston Villa today. They were poor for an hour, but they were capable of winning that game because referee didn't do the job, and because the first goal, Watkins is lucky. That's what it is. But credit to the coach because of the good change, and credit to the players because they kept on believing that they could win that. And I'm the first and maybe the only one right now saying that Aston Villa is in the race, because I take everything into account.
Shaka.
Well, I'll finish where Frank ended there, or start where Frank ended. Aston Villa are in the race. They're a point of Manchester City. I don't think there's any denying that. Now, whether they'll be there come May, that I have my doubts on. And the thing is, Villa do not have as good a squad as Manchester City. They do not have as good a squad as Arsenal. They don't even have as good a squad as Liverpool. The difference with this Villa team is, and you touched on it, Unai Emery, who has been simply outstanding. Now, to Frank's point, after an hour, it quite easily could have been Chelsea 4-0 upon Villa. But at the end of 90 minutes, if everybody took their chances, it quite easily could have been Aston Villa winning 6-4. And for all the luck that Frank attributes to Aston Villa, the truth is, at the final whistle, Sanchez is probably Chelsea's man of the match. For that half an hour, for the half an hour that Aston Villa showed up, once Unai Emery made those changes, and Enzo Maresca really did not have a response to. As a matter of fact, what he fashioned as a response, we can certainly question a lot about. Aston Villa was simply outstanding to the point where, as I say, Sanchez, for me, was Chelsea's man of the match over the course of 90 minutes. Now, again, so I don't see Villa continuing. I don't see Villa upending Liverpool, Arsenal or Manchester City come the end of the season just because they just don't have the size of squad. And as the games go on, you just wonder if that's going to take its toll. But no question, I think Unai Emery is getting a tune out of this squad that you could say no other manager in the Premier League would.
Were Villa lucky?
The things went their way. You know, I don't know whether it's just me, but I always find it funny. You know, Unai Emery made 3 substitutions, and everybody's like, "Oh, great move and perfect timing and what a coach." You know, and I kind of go, "Well, they were so bad for an hour. Is he not responsible for that hour?" But yeah, things turned on. You know, and what Frank said is true. The game turned on that first goal.
Yeah.
100%. And it was lucky. There's no question the first goal was lucky. After that, there was nothing lucky about it. You know, Villa absolutely came alive. And Shaka said it. I mean, Sanchez had half a dozen really good saves. I mean, so they weren't lucky. They were lucky that they got the equaliser. But after that, then you've got to give them credit for the way they went about it. But you'd have to worry about Chelsea, though.
Absolutely. But before the first goal, and granted, Watkins got a huge slice of luck there. They had another one-on-one before the I can't remember who it was. Sanchez made a really good save. So
Watkins.
You could almost see it. You could almost see it coming. You know. So while the goal in itself, yes, he got the rub of the green there, striker's luck. It was coming, and so you can't just say, "Oh, it was lucky and nothing else." It was coming. It had a bit of luck about it, but it was coming.
Chelsea are weird, aren't they, Frank? You look at like the first half against Newcastle, the second half today once Watkins has scored. There's nothing particularly that says, "Trust us, we'll get you across the line."
Of course not, and we know that, and it's a question of consistency. I always talk about that. You have talent, you have the potential, but they have to grow. They still have to grow. Players are doing what they have to do. I think Maresca also have his responsibilities for some game changing, and when we saw some players going out, players coming in, when you have a Cucurella who is, I think, on the top of his football going out, I don't know if he was injured or something went wrong, but I'm concerned about also his moves and everything. So Chelsea is still a very young team who still needs to grow and to get experiences from their games. But they are talented, and I'm not being 5th or 4th in the league. I'm not surprised, and I think it's where they belong, with all due respect, because comparing to the others, they still have to learn many things before chasing for the title.
I'm sorry, Frank. I'm kind of. I hate this line about Chelsea are young. I mean, Sanchez is 27, Cucurella is 28. You've got 2 central midfielders who are 24, but they've got as much experience as anybody. I mean, Reece James is 26. I mean, so I'm past the young thing. You know, at the end of the day, particularly Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo in the middle of the park, in my opinion, it all starts with them.
Right.
Now, I do believe that they've got problems at centre back, and I think that doesn't help. But the guts of the team is those two. And in my opinion, those are the two who should be sorting things around them and behind them in terms of being ahead and stopping the opposition, number one, from playing and then getting the result. You know, you play your football, you get ahead. Now you have to be smart. And I'm sorry, these two guys, in my opinion, have had enough. How much experience do you need? So-called world club champions, they've won a European title.
Yeah.
I mean, how much experience do you need? I think the two of them have to be. Maresca has to get a hold of the two of them and speak to them and make sure that when they get ahead and they try to see the game out, that they do certain things at certain times in the game. You can't just keep playing and lose goals. Oh, we'll just keep playing. No, sometimes you just got to do the dirty stuff and just make sure you get over the line. And those two guys, as I said, for me, that's where it starts.
Frank, your young narrative is getting old.
No, but hey, I hear what Stevie said, and I'm going his way in a way that I think, in terms of inexperienced team that I explained, is the fact that I don't find the chemistry. I don't find that at some point they know exactly what the others are doing when you're a player, that you know what's going, that you're gonna cover it or you're gonna challenge something. It's like they're still discovering each other because of the old changes that we see and we have seen throughout the season. But again, for an hour today, don't forget that we didn't see Aston Villa. Aston Villa had 4 times the ball in the opponent side of the field. And if Martinez doesn't make a fantastic save on Reece James, I don't know if it was a cross or if he tried to score, it would have been a different story. If the referee gives the penalty, that's a different story. And maybe we talk about something else. Say, wow, Chelsea, what a performance against Aston Villa, because the game would have been over. But it's true that when they started to concede that chance by Watkins and then the goal by Watkins again, they lost their mojo. And that's what they have to work on. It's why maybe I'm talking about an experience. Maybe it's more about chemistry and knowing each other, covering each other, working together.
Next up.